Okay, so welcome. This is one of 4 of these Italian culture workshops there that you need to attend 2 of before you go to Rome. We like to keep them little short and sweet, different subjects, 30 minutes. Tonight we have an expert, Alessia Cavazos, who's Italian, who's spent many summers in Italy and has traveled around and is going to talk to you about Italian travel. And enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. My name is Alessia Cavazos. I am an English major, senior, part of the Italian concentration. I tutor Italian. So if you decide to take Italian this semester or you're in it and you need tutoring, come see me also. We're going to talk a little bit about traveling in and out of Italy. It'll be pretty informational, a little bit about safety, a little bit about how to get around. So hopefully it will be very useful to you. So the main forms of transportation that we see in Italy, there's a couple of them. There's trains, there's buses, and there's, of course, the taxi. So a high-speed train is called il pendolino. The trains that only stop in large cities are l'intercity. Local trains, things that go from small cities to other little small cities, are called interregionale. A bus is called an autobus, sometimes just a bus or a pullman. And you can tell the difference, I don't have a picture, but you can tell the difference between the pullman and the autobus by the color. Pullmans come from inside the city to small towns outside the city, and the autobus will go between cities like from Florence to Rome or something like that, but I wouldn't recommend taking a bus from Florence to Rome, take a train, because it'll be messy. And of course there's taxis, which are always called taxis. Oops. Okay. So this is, if you're taking an interregional train, even some of the bigger trains have these little flip-out timesheets that you can use to find your way around and see what times that the trains leave and depart at. So this is one from my region. I come from Pieve di Sacco. It's from Padova, and the train goes to Venice. It's like 20 minutes, so this is one that I often take in the summer. So if you look there and there, you'll see that those are 2 different types of times that the trains run. Feriale are weekdays, and Monday through Saturday, and festivi are the Sundays or the calendar holidays. So what you can do I had it upside down. What you can do is, when you're looking at these, is essentially if you're going from, say, a small city to, from Venice to a small city, you would look here, and you'd see Venezia Mestre. I'm sorry, it's kind of blurry, but you would look for Venezia Mestre, and these are all the different times that you can take. And then if you're going from the small city Adria to Venice, you would see whatever city you're in. So Pieve di Sacco's right here, and you can see your times for the days of the week, and then you can go ahead and go. So that's kind of how you read those little timesheets for the train. So in Italy, some useful things to know, how to say in case you're lost, in case you don't really know what you're looking at, are things like where is. You would say dove è, and you could say things like dove è il binario, so that's the platform, and then you would say the number. At what time, a che ora, and then you would say arriva or parte, so arrive or departs the certain trains. If something is late or on time, it'll say it over here usually. In some area it'll say, where is it? In orario or in ritardo. And you definitely want to know how to use these things. So when you buy a ticket for a train, and sometimes the buses have this too, it's kind of similar to the metro in New York or something like that, you have to stamp your ticket, stampare or convalidare il biglietto in these little machines, or you can get a fine, because the train masters like to know who's coming in, who's coming out, making sure the tickets weren't used more than once, things like that. So you really don't want to fine. Always do this. They will get you. I promise. Doesn't matter if you're local or not. So one of my friends went to Rome a couple semesters ago, and when I was building this presentation, I asked him, what was something that you would want to know how to do that you didn't know how to do when you were in Europe? And he said, I wish I had known what a Eurail pass was. So a Eurail pass is something that you can get that allows you to travel on the trains like free willy. You can just get on them and keep going and choose all the different ones you want, and they have different kinds of passes. So they'll have global, but you probably won't be using that. But they'll have like 4 country, 3 country, 2 country, 1 country. So if you want to get a Euro pass for specifically Italy, if you plan to spend your 10-day there or something, you can do that. If you want to go throughout Europe, you can do that. And it allows you to get on the trains and not have to pay for it every time. You just pay one fee at the beginning when you register for it. And sometimes you can get shorter fees, or rather smaller fees for group passes, but you have to travel in the groups, and you have to log everything in a travel diary. So I'll show you what those look like. So this is what a travel diary looks like for a Eurail pass. So as you can see, you would put where the train is leaving from and where it's going to, and you just keep doing that, and you have to log your times, you have to log the date, and you have to log the number of the train. So this is very important to keep up with. If you don't do it, you can get fined from the Eurail company, but it's a very, very useful resource if you have that sort of money to spend on it, because it can get a little bit expensive if you want to use it for large parts of Europe or something like that. But it is something that's available to you that you can register for. And I have at the end of this, I think they post these on the website. Yeah, at the end of this presentation, there's links to the Eurail website, if I'm not mistaken. And you can just look through that if you wanted to look how to register for Eurail Pass. So if you're going to Europe, and this is not just Italy, but in general, a lot of places are closed on Sundays. So if you're planning to take a weekend trip, keep in mind that you probably want to do the fun things on the Saturday and then take your trip back on the Sunday, because most of the things are going to be closed, because people rest on Sunday. It's kind of a religious thing mostly, because much of Italy is Catholic, so they like to take their rest on Sunday. Also, in the afternoons during the weeks, oftentimes from like 1 to 3 p.m., things will be closed. People like to take their naps, just like I'm sure the rest of us do, so keep that in mind when you're traveling throughout Europe. The other thing that you would want to keep in mind is to have cash on you, because as soon as you get into Italy, most people don't always want to accept a credit card. They prefer to accept coins or paper money. As soon as you get into Rome, if you need something to push your luggage, that's a coin. There's no way to like swipe a card and get it. Like they have like the vending machines here where you can swipe your card. Can't do that in Italy. You need coins. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially at like gift shops and stuff like that. They won't want to take credit card. They'll probably want to take cash. Bread stores, grocery stores, sometimes the smaller ones, they won't want to take credit card, they'll want to take cash. So, and also a lot of times if you're using your card in Europe, there's a lot of high fees for transferring the money evaluation or equivalence, so you don't want to do that because it looks bad and you end up spending a lot more than you think you did. So just keep that in mind. Although the euro is kind of lower right now, so your exchange fee is pretty good. So you're not at a bad time to be going to Rome in the fall, if you're going in the fall. Things can change by spring. So, unfortunately, we live in a time where we have to be very, very, very safe, and there's a lot of regulations on how we travel and things like that. So, just as a rule of thumb, let your friends and family know where you're going, and when you're going somewhere, don't go off alone. A lot of girls, especially in Rome, do get kidnapped. I have the satellite television at my house, and we watch the Italian news, and girls get kidnapped every weekend. Don't go off, like, by yourself. Like, not to say that it's unsafe, because it's not, but just don't be not smart. You know what I mean? Just think about what your mom or dad would want for you to be safe and have fun. Most of all, be vigilant, especially in train stations or at airports if you're using planes. If something looks off, let somebody know. And just remember that your instincts are your friends. And just stay close to those that you're traveling with. That's always the most important. Watch out for each other's stuff if you have to go to the bathroom or something. And also, things get stolen a lot in Europe. If you're from big cities like New York, you might know that, because places like that have a lot of people who like to steal things. But that's not too hard to take care of. Just keep your things zipped up or in an inner jacket pocket if you can. Keep your backpack on you. And when I say on you, I mean like if you can, put it in a locker if you're like on a train or something, or literally just like hold it on you. I had a friend who was in Rome last fall, and him and his friend were coming back from like a little city in Sicily or something, coming back to Rome. And it was on a Sunday, the train was completely crowded, and she had her bag in her arms, okay? And there were like a bunch of people, and they got off the train. Her bag had been slashed by a knife, and all her things were gone. So be very, very vigilant. And that doesn't just happen to tourists, it happens to Italian people. This summer when I was in Rome, my aunt had her purse in a Zara. Nothing looked out of place, nothing looked strange. Some guy had reached into her purse and pulled out her wallet and her keys. And like she had no idea, you know what I mean? And everyone looked absolutely perfect, you know what I mean? Like nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So keep your things zipped, keep your things on you, be very careful, just like if you were traveling anyway. If something does get stolen, here's how you can tell the police, because if you're in a small city, they probably won't know English, and it's very helpful to know a little bit of Italian when you're traveling in Italy anyway. And if you lose something, don't wait until you get back to Rome if you're somewhere else. Try and let your teacher know that you want to report it immediately, because it's a lot easier to get something registered and recorded if you're in that city. It's a lot harder to do it from place to place.
You'll get ISIC cards which carry health insurance, and they have an option for an upgrade for property insurance, which works pretty well, but you do need to, if you get something stolen, report it to the police and have a police report in order to make a claim.
Thank you. So just some things that you can say in the event of this. I really hope it happens to none of you, but it can happen. You could say, ho perso il mio, so that means I lost my, and then the things that you can say are borsa, cellulare, zaino, portafoglio, chiave. I really hope you don't have to say that, ever. If someone stole something, maybe you saw it, maybe you saw them run away, you say, mi hanno rubato il mio, and then you say someone stole my whatever, and then go down the list, unfortunately. So that's just for your use in case you ever want to look back on it, take some notes, remember it. It's always helpful to know these sorts of things when you're traveling anyway. So, because I care about you all very, very much, here are some emergency numbers just in case anything is really, really going on. This is the most common one for Italy, and I included some ones for Ireland and France and Belgium and Germany and Greece because I know you guys go to all those places. So just in case you have like cell service over there because you have the international service by some lucky chance and something's going on, you can call someone. Never hurts, right? So these are the resources that I was telling you about. Here's a Huffington Post article about travel and safety. If you needed some more numbers, there's the Wikipedia page to all the list of emergency numbers in Europe. Very helpful. Here's Trenitalia is one of those high-speed trains that I was talking about that'll take you from, like, say, you can take one from Venice all the way down to like Rome or Florence or all the way down to Sicily, and those trains are very, very good. They're also very, very expensive, but if they don't get you there in the time that they say they will, you get a refund. So it's just one of those things. They have very good train systems there. You may be interested to look into that. And of course, here is the Eurail site and some of the things that let you know if it's worth it or not for you. I'm pretty sure that that was this link. And then these are just Eurail passes and how to get around with them. So that's as much as I have for you. Are there any questions that you have for me? Why am I doing it like that? Yeah. Yes? I'm recommending it. You don't, if you ride the Eurail pass, you have to have it. If you don't, and you just buy your tickets, you don't have to have it. It's just like any other train pass. You just buy your ticket, you go put it in the little stampy machine, and then you go on your way. Just always make sure to do that, because that's important. Even with the Trenitalia and the Pendolino trains, you have to stamp your tickets. Always, always, always. If you're riding Eurail, not necessarily, but you may not also have a seat, so you want to get there early and talk to whoever you have to talk to make sure you have your seat. But no and yes. Are there any other questions?
Okay, so as you noticed, we filmed this, and we're going to try to get it on YouTube so that you'll be able to, once you get a lot closer and this seems a lot more real, you'll have a place to go back to listen again to Alessia's pronunciation, to practice saying some of these things. Or if you're in Italy right now, it's a long way away from where your thoughts are, but it'll be on the website as a resource. If you don't have further questions, then thank you very much. Grazie, and ci vediamo.